The ghost of Jeffrey Epstein has returned to Washington, reigniting a political firestorm that threatens to consume the Capitol in early 2026. The scandal, which had once seemed to be fading into the annals of history, has resurfaced with a vengeance. The recent limited congressional review of previously unredacted Epstein investigation documents has pulled former President Donald Trump directly into the controversy. This has not only reignited old debates but also sparked new ones. The partial release of information has created a vacuum, fueling both legitimate questions and partisan attacks, as every redaction is seen as a potential cover-up. The public is left to wonder what secrets lie beneath the black ink. Lawmakers hint at explosive revelations, while the Department of Justice faces mounting pressure to explain years of secrecy. The tension is palpable as both sides prepare for what could be a defining moment in American politics. The fight over these files is a battle over whether the powerful system that enabled Epstein will finally be exposed or allowed to fade back into the shadows. The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome remains uncertain. The so-called Epstein files, court records, flight logs, and testimonies are now at the very center of a growing political storm. For years, these documents were heavily redacted, fueling endless speculation about exactly who was being protected and why. Now, select lawmakers have seen the unredacted files, and Trump's name appears extensively, sending shockwaves through Washington and beyond. A resurfaced 2019 FBI interview alleges Trump knew about Epstein's behavior, directly contradicting his repeated public denials. Allies dismiss the revelations as a smear campaign, while critics argue the mounting evidence demands full transparency from all involved. Calls grow louder for the Department of Justice to release all files, insisting only complete disclosure can restore public trust. In the court of public opinion, simply having a name appear in the Epstein files is not, and should never be, considered definitive proof of guilt. Yet, in today's hyper-connected world, headlines and rumors often travel faster than facts, and the distinction between accusation and evidence is easily blurred. But nuance is lost in the political crossfire. Politicians and pundits seize on every new detail, spinning it to fit their own agendas, while the public is left to sift through a barrage of conflicting narratives. The demand for absolute transparency clashes with fears of a witch hunt, as each side accuses the other of manipulating the narrative. Calls for openness are met with warnings about the dangers of mob justice and trial by media. Supporters of full disclosure argue secrecy only protects the powerful, insisting that sunlight is the best disinfectant and that the public has a right to know the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. While opponents warn of reputations destroyed by association, they caution that innocent people can be swept up in the storm, their lives upended by mere implication, with no chance to defend themselves before the damage is done. The debate has devolved into a partisan tug-of-war, with truth taking a back seat to political strategy. Each revelation becomes ammunition, and the search for justice is overshadowed by the pursuit of political vantage. Both camps claim to defend American institutions, yet their battle only deepens public distrust. The more fiercely they fight, the more the public questions the motives behind every statement and every leak. The fight is no longer just about Epstein, it's about who controls the story, who gets to shape the narrative, and ultimately who holds power in the information age. In this polarized landscape, transparency and weaponization have become two sides of the same coin, each wielded as a tool in the ongoing struggle for influence, leaving the truth somewhere in the crossfire. The Epstein files have also ensnared Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, a figure once considered above reproach in the world of government and finance. The sudden appearance of Lutnick's name in the documents forced him into the harsh glare of public scrutiny, as journalists and investigators began to dig deeper into his past connections. Under oath, Lutnick admitted to a 2012 lunch with Epstein on Little St. James, the infamous private island at the center of so many unanswered questions. This admission directly contradicted his earlier public statements, in which he claimed to have severed all ties with Epstein as far back as 2005. The discrepancy between his sworn testimony and previous claims immediately raised red flags among both the media and the public. This inconsistency fueled widespread suspicion, with many questioning whether Lutnick had been fully forthcoming about the true nature and extent of his relationship with Epstein. Lutnick, for his part, insists he was deceived by Epstein's carefully crafted public persona, and maintains that he was unaware of any criminal activity. Yet, Critics argue that his shifting story and selective memory are classic signs of concealment and point to a pattern of evasive answers. Some of Lutnick's allies counter that many powerful people were duped by Epstein's charm and influence, and that guilt by association is a dangerous precedent. Still, the contradiction in Lutnick's timeline, his own words versus the evidence, remains difficult for the public to ignore or explain away. His case highlights the broader challenge of distinguishing between innocent association, willful blindness, and outright complicity in scandals of this magnitude. As the investigation deepens, Lutnick's story adds yet another layer of complexity to an already murky and far-reaching scandal, leaving the public to wonder who can truly be trusted. As the Epstein controversy intensified, Trump executed a familiar maneuver. He changed the subject. He launched an attack on Canada and the nearly completed Gordie Howe International Bridge, threatening to block its opening and framing it as a bad deal for America. Trump's rhetoric tapped into economic nationalism, shifting the conversation to trade and sovereignty. This abrupt pivot was a classic distraction tactic, forcing media and public attention away from the Epstein files. For supporters, it was a return to America first. For critics, a transparent diversion. The bridge controversy quickly dominated headlines, pushing the Epstein revelations out of the spotlight. The Epstein scandal and bridge dispute unfolded amid a chaotic media landscape, crowded with crises and culture wars. A measles resurgence reignited debates over vaccines and public trust, while a controversial Super Bowl performance by Bad Bunny sparked a cultural firestorm. These parallel controversies fragmented public attention, making it nearly impossible for any single issue to dominate. Politicians exploited this chaos, knowing damaging stories could be drowned out by the noise. The constant barrage of headlines leaves citizens exhausted and cynical, struggling to focus on what matters. The measles outbreak, culture war skirmishes, and the Epstein scandal together create a whirlwind of distraction. In this environment, meaningful accountability becomes ever more elusive. As the dust settles, America faces a deeper crisis, a collapse of trust, truth, and transparency. The Epstein files, political diversions, public health scares, and culture wars all test the nation's faith in its institutions. Years of secrecy and shifting stories from leaders have eroded public confidence. The result is a fractured society, where shared reality is slipping away and every controversy is weaponized. Rebuilding trust will require more than unredacted documents. It demands accountability, honesty, and a renewed commitment to the public good. Without that, the nation risks drifting further into a sea of noise, unable to separate truth from distraction.